Gentlemen, let's start with a question that I know many of you have asked yourselves, perhaps in silence, or perhaps with a bit of worry. Does frequent release, specifically ejaculation, harm your prostate as you get older? There is a persistent myth floating around that you need to save up your energy, or that frequent activity somehow wears out the gland. Let me put your mind at ease right now. The science actually suggests the opposite. A landmark study from Harvard University followed nearly 32,000 men for 18 years. They found that men who ejaculated at least 21 times a month had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate issues compared to those who did so less frequently. Think of it as flushing the system. Keeping the pipes clean prevents stagnation. So, if that was your worry, you can let it go. But if sexual activity isn't the enemy, what is? The reality is much more subtle and, frankly, much more dangerous. The real enemies of your prostate health, and by extension your virility and testosterone levels, are the silent habits you do every single day without thinking. These are the invisible routines that slowly inflame, irritate, and compress this vital gland, leading to waking up 3 times a night, weak flow, and eventually a complete loss of vitality. Today, we are going to walk through the 10 most common prostate-destroying habits. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to protect your manhood naturally. The mechanical enemy, the chair. Let's begin with something you are probably doing right now. You are sitting. In our modern world, we sit to eat, we sit to drive, we sit to work, and we sit to relax. But for a man, prolonged sitting is one of the worst mechanical stressors for the prostate. Anatomically, your prostate is located just above the perineum. When you sit on a hard surface or for long periods without moving, you are effectively placing your entire upper body weight directly onto this gland. This causes physical compression. Imagine stepping on a garden hose. The water stops flowing. When you compress the pelvic area for hours, you restrict blood flow to the prostate and the surrounding nerves essential for erectile function. This creates a state of chronic inflammation simply due to lack of circulation. This is especially true for professional drivers or men who work desk jobs. The fix isn't to quit your job, but to understand the mechanics. If you must sit, use a cushion with a cutout to relieve pressure on the perineum. And more importantly, make a pact with yourself to stand up every 60 minutes. Gravity and movement are the best natural pumps for your pelvic blood flow. The emotional trigger, chronic stress. Now, let's move from the physical to the chemical. We often think of stress as something that happens only in the brain, but for men, stress manifests directly in the pelvis. When you are under chronic stress, worried about finances, family, or the future, your body releases cortisol. High cortisol levels are catastrophic for testosterone, but there is a physical reaction to it. Men tend to unknowingly clench their pelvic floor muscles when they are stressed. It's a subconscious guarding mechanism, similar to how some people grind their teeth. This chronic tension in the pelvic floor muscles pulls on the prostate and the bladder neck. Over years, this leads to a condition often misdiagnosed as prostatitis. It's actually chronic pelvic pain syndrome caused by tight muscles strangling the area. You might feel pain, difficulty starting urination, or discomfort after intimacy. This isn't an infection. It's tension. Learning to relax isn't just good for your heart. It is essential for your prostate. Deep belly breathing, which forces the pelvic floor to relax, is a powerful tool you can use anywhere, anytime, to signal to your body that it is safe to let go. The fluid balance. Dehydration, the third habit, is one of the simplest to fix, yet most men get it wrong. Dehydration, your kidneys filter waste from your blood and create urine. When you are well hydrated, that urine is diluted and flows easily. But when you don't drink enough water, your urine becomes highly concentrated. It becomes dark, acidic, and filled with crystallized toxins. Storing this concentrated, acidic liquid in your bladder for hours is like holding acid in a delicate container. It irritates the bladder lining and the prostate urethra, which runs right through the center of the prostate gland. This irritation causes the prostate to inflame as a defense mechanism. Many men reduce their water intake because they don't want to run to the bathroom constantly, but this backfires. The more concentrated the urine, the more it irritates the bladder, causing spasms that make you feel like you need to go even when you don't. Aim for a clear, pale urine. It is the cheapest and most effective way to soothe your internal system. The double-edged sword, caffeine. Closely related to hydration is your morning routine. I know we all love our coffee, but excessive caffeine is a direct antagonist to prostate health for two reasons. First, it is a potent diuretic, which can dehydrate you if you aren't compensating with water. Second, and more importantly, caffeine is a bladder irritant. It stimulates the smooth muscles of the bladder, increasing urgency and frequency. If you are already dealing with a slightly enlarged prostate, caffeine is like throwing gasoline on a fire. It tightens the bladder neck, making it harder to empty completely. This leaves residual urine in the bladder, which is a breeding ground for bacteria and further inflammation. I am not saying you must give up coffee forever, but moderation is key. If you notice you are rushing to the bathroom shortly after your cup, or if you have trouble sleeping, which is when your body produces the most testosterone, try cutting off caffeine after noon, or switching to green tea, which contains lower caffeine and beneficial antioxidants. The spicy trap, dietary irritants. Let's talk about dinner. Many men enjoy spicy food, hot peppers, heavy curries, and strong condiments. While spices have health benefits, for a man with a sensitive prostate, they can be torture. The chemical capsaicin, which gives peppers their heat, is not fully broken down by your digestion. This means that when it leaves your body, it still retains its heat. As this passes through the urethra, it causes the same burning sensation at the exit as it did at the entrance. This inflames the prostate and the urethra, mimicking the symptoms of a urinary tract infection. If you notice that your symptoms flare up after a spicy meal, your body is telling you something important. It's asking for a cooling diet. Listen to it. You don't have to eat bland food, but reducing the extreme heat can significantly lower the daily inflammation your prostate has to fight against. The pressure cooker, holding it in this next habit, is something we do out of politeness or busyness. Holding in your urine. Maybe you are in a long meeting, or driving, or watching a movie, and you decide to wait. Occasional waiting is fine, but habitually delaying urination causes the bladder to overstretch. Over time, the bladder muscle loses its tone and strength, making it impossible to empty completely. But there is a specific danger for the prostate. When the bladder is overfilled, the internal pressure skyrockets. This high pressure can force urine backward into the tiny ducts of the prostate gland. This is known as intraprostatic reflux. Because urine is not sterile, it contains bacteria and chemical waste. Forcing it inside the prostate tissue triggers a massive inflammatory response. It can lead to calcification or prostate stones, which are painful and difficult to treat. When nature calls, answer immediately. It is a vital biological function, not an inconvenience to be delayed. The hormone disruptor, alcohol. We must discuss alcohol. While a glass of red wine has some heart benefits, regular or heavy alcohol consumption is a disaster for male longevity. Alcohol is a double threat. First, it acts as a diuretic and a bladder irritant, similar to caffeine but stronger. Second, and more damagingly, alcohol affects your hormonal balance. Your liver is responsible for metabolizing hormones. When it is busy processing alcohol, which it sees as a toxin, it stops processing excess estrogen. For men over 50, the balance between testosterone and estrogen is crucial. Alcohol increases the conversion of your precious testosterone into estrogen, a process called aromatization. Higher estrogen levels are linked to prostate enlargement and a higher risk of prostate cancer. Furthermore, alcohol relaxes the throat muscles, causing sleep apnea. which deprives your body of oxygen and prevents the deep REM sleep needed for prostate repair. If you want to protect your virility, treat alcohol as a rare treat, not a daily habit. The blood flow blocker. Smoking. It goes without saying that smoking is bad for your lungs. But few men realize it is a primary cause of erectile dysfunction and prostate damage. Nicotine is a powerful vasoconstrictor. This means it tightens your blood vessels, drastically reducing blood flow. The prostate and the mechanisms of erection rely entirely on healthy, robust blood flow. When you smoke, you are starving these tissues of oxygen and nutrients. Additionally, the free radicals and toxins from cigarette smoke accumulate in the body and induce systemic inflammation. Studies have shown that men who smoke have more aggressive forms of prostate cancer and faster growth of BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, than non-smokers. If you are looking for a single change that will improve every aspect of your sexual and physical health, stopping smoking is the one that offers the most immediate reward. The tough guy syndrome. Ignoring symptoms. The ninth habit is a psychological one. Ignoring the early warning signs. We men are often taught to tough it out. We notice the stream is weaker, or that we dribble a little after zipping up, or that getting up at night is becoming routine, and we dismiss it. We think it's just part of aging. This delay is dangerous. Early intervention can stop prostate enlargement in its tracks with simple lifestyle changes or mild medications. But if you wait until the bladder is permanently damaged or the kidneys are affected by Bapnisor, the solutions become surgical and much more invasive. Ignoring the dribble is not a sign of strength. It is a missed opportunity for prevention. Pay attention to your body. If something changes in your bathroom habits, consult a professional. It is usually something easy to fix if caught early. The path to vitality, gentlemen. Your prostate health is the canary in the coal mine for your overall longevity. By addressing these silent habits, drinking more water, moving your body, managing stress, and eating clean, you aren't just protecting a gland. You are preserving your energy, your sleep, and your manhood well into your later years. Start with one habit today. Maybe stand up right now if you've been sitting. Drink a large glass of water. Your body is resilient, and it will thank you for the care. Stay strong, stay vital, and I will see you in the next video.